You know, ladies and gentlemen, in the early days of what was considered a precursor to Major League Baseball, there was only a few superstars of the sport. Now, this guy was nicknamed the freshest man on earth because of his quick wit and his braininess and his practical jokes. But when Arlie Latham took the field, ladies and gentlemen, a base would be stolen and the hearts of the fans would be excited and stolen as well. Now, Walter Arlington Latham, born March 15th, 1860, in West Lebanon, New Hampshire, was the first player from New Hampshire to play in Major League Baseball. He played mostly third base. He took the field from 1980 to 1909 for the Buffalo Bisons, St. Louis Browns, Chicago Pirates, Cincinnati Reds, Washington Senators, New York Giants. He also served as player-manager of the Browns in 1896. Latham stole 129 bases during the 87 season. His career total of 742 ranked 7th all-time in the majors. As a player coach for the Giants in 1909, Latham, at age 49, became the oldest Major League Baseball player to steal a base. After his retirement, he became what is acknowledged as the first full-time base coach in baseball history. For years, he served as a coach and manager in minor league baseball. Now, after retirement, he traveled to Great Britain, where he organized baseball matches for soldiers during World War I and taught baseball to the British. He later worked in baseball as a press box attendant. Now, Latham's father served as a bugler for the Union Army in the American Civil War. Latham became interested in baseball when soldiers returning from the battlefield brought the game of baseball with them. At the age of 14, he played with a local team from Stoneham, Massachusetts, as their catcher. And he played in the field barehanded, ladies and gentlemen. In 1877, he played for a team in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, at third base. He made his pro debut in minor league baseball with the Springfield of the National Association in 79. He debuted in Major League Baseball with the Buffalo Bisons of the National League in 1880, again becoming the first man from New Hampshire to play MLB. He took the field for the Philadelphia Athletics of the National Association in 81 and the Philadelphia Phillies of the League Alliance in 1882. He returned to Major League Baseball with the St. Louis Browns of the American Association in 1883. Known as a very good base stealer in his day, he led the Double-A in runs scored with 152 during the 86 season. He also batted .316 and stole, get this, 142 bases, plus another 12 stolen bases in the playoffs. In 1887, as a member of the Browns, he stole 129 bases. This record is not recognized by Major League Baseball, as stolen bases were defined differently. He also led the league in stolen bases with 109 during the 1888 season. In 1890, he jumped to the Chicago Pirates of the Players League. He returned to the NL with the Reds in July 1890 to serve as a utility player and coach. He played for Cincinnati through 1895, but was traded to the Browns after the 1895 season with Ed McFarland, Morgan Murphy, Tom Perrott, and Cash for Red Hurt and Heine Pietz. The Browns released Latham after 1896. Now, when he returned to minor league baseball, he played for the Columbus Buckeye Senators of the Western League and the Scranton Miners of the Eastern League in 1896. He played for the Mansfield Haymakers of the Interstate League in 1897, and in 1898 he applied to become a National League umpire. Instead, he played for the New Britain Rangers of the Connecticut State League and the Hartford Cooperatives of the Atlantic League in 1898. He returned to MLB with the Senators from Washington in 1989, and he played for the Denver Grizzlies of the Western League in 1982. Now, when he played for the New York Giants of the NL in 1909, he became the oldest man in Major League history to steal a base at the age of 49, a record that still stands today. Now, he ended his career with 7,442 official stolen bases. Latham's base running expertise was apparently purely instinctive, not like Ricky Anderson, where basically you knew he was going to go. Here was depending on the pitcher or the situation. Now, he also holds the career record for errors at third base with 822, more than 200 more than the next player on the list. Latham's arm had been injured in a throwing contest with a teammate, which led to Latham making weak of half-hearted attempts to field ground balls. Now, Latham eventually became an umpire in 1903 in the International League. In 1906, Latham managed the Jacksonville Jays of the Southern League and also served as an umpire for the league and the nearby South Atlantic League. Now, Latham was Major League Baseball's first full-time coach. When he was a player, and as at the time there were no coaches, he would stand on the third base line and yell insults at the other team's pitcher, attempting to distract them and give the Browns an advantage. One of his techniques was to scream while running up and down the third base line during the pitcher's delivery. The coach's box was eventually introduced to prevent him from doing this. Now, while Cy Seymour coached third base during a game against the Phillies, one of the most interesting incidents on the field occurred. Seymour tackled Moose McCormick as he rounded third base and headed for home. When Giants manager John McGraw asked why, Seymour made an excuse about having the sun in his eyes. This led McGraw, now realizing the need for a full-time coach, to hire Latham for the role, the first full-time coach in MLB. Latham tried to do the same things in New York as he'd done years earlier in St. Louis, but times had changed, and screaming obscenities was not looked well upon, as baseball was being changed into more of a family-friendly game. By then, now, in the opinion of the great Fred Snodgrass, he was probably the worst third base coach that ever lived, and after the 1910 season, Latham was let go by the Giants. In 1914, Latham coached Lynn of the New England League. In July 1914, he resigned. Latham announced his retirement from pro ball in 1915 and eventually wrote for the Pittsburgh Press in 1915. Now, Latham did live in England during World War I, where he organized baseball for the soldiers and, get this, taught King George V about baseball. He returned to the United States in 1923 and opened a deli on St. Nicholas Avenue in Manhattan. He also served as a press box attendant for the Giants at the Polo Grounds and New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Now, Latham again was considered one of the funniest players in baseball. Nicknamed the freshest man on earth, he was a colorful player known for playing practical jokes, including on Browns owner Chris Von der Eye and manager Charles Comiskey. In one famous stunt, he lit a firecracker under third base in an effort to wake himself up after Comiskey had been complaining about him falling asleep on the job. Also, he would occasionally put on a clown's nose while walking behind Von der Eye. A practical joke Latham pulled on Seymour in March 1909 caused a fight between the two at the team's hotel, promptly prompting McGraw to discharge Seymour for the team and seek a buyer. Now, what's very interesting about Arlie Latham, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people don't really know what the connection was to him not having the stolen base record and Rickey Henderson thinking he was the best stolen base king of all time. For a lot of old schoolers, and there's a lot out there, Arlie Latham is considered the greatest base stealer of all time.